evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblumen. You're watching the TheoTrade nightly video for the 16th of June, 2020. And, well, is that a recovery or not? Let's talk about it. We'll also update you on some bond positions. And, of course, looking at financials and leading stocks. And stocks making new 52-week highs, or in some cases, like PayPal, new all-time highs. Let's start with the S&P. Today had a positive retail sales number, which registered about 17% change from last month. The market took that information and ran with it, at least in the morning session. So that's what we're looking at for right now. All the indices are up almost 2%. And we'll take a look, as always, on the left side of the chart on my grids with you are the daily charts. And on the right side are the hourly charts. It's kind of for more intraday traders or to see what happened a little closer to the most real-time action. For the Nasdaq, we see this all-time high. Just kidding, down we go. And for the Dow mini futures, we have this 27,000, 28,000, all the way back to 25. And that is a critical pivot. What you'll see is that all these indexes did hold key support levels. For the Dow, that's just about 25,000. And for the Russell, I have a lot of lines on the chart, but it's mainly the weakest when it comes to these new all-time highs. Nasdaq has made new recovery highs. The S&P is still shy of them, as is the Dow futures. Russell's the weakest there. Quick updates. Crude oil also is about the halfway point of this fall from 65 per barrel down, strangely enough, to 5, really about 10 per barrel, and the recovery from that. Gold continues to hold in the middle of the trading range or the volatility box. And that's going to be roughly $16.90 per ounce and about $17.60, or for simple math, $1,700 and $1,750. On the other hand, bonds, we can look at the ZN or TLT or ZB. They also have a volatility box, and that's roughly 137 to 139. In the TLT, it's a little different, roughly 170 to 155. And the midpoint here, 162. Okay, all the numbers out of the way. What does it mean? What's the big picture? What's going on here? So we have the Fed purchasing bonds. That's going to affect the bond market itself, and at least in terms of corporate bonds. They were purchasing ETFs. They'll continue that. But they'll also buy corporate bonds in a broad portfolio. So that's something to keep watch in the future. That did boost, or at least help boost, the S&P in yesterday's session. Today that boost continues. In fact, let's look at the 5-minute chart here. We had a down gap that pushed back up. That's the Fed news. We, the Federal Reserve, will be purchasing bonds, not just any bonds, but corporate bonds. That sent the market up well above the 3020 level. And again, that kept the gains into today's session. Retail sales happened right before, about an hour before the session opened. Oh, but Chair Powell, he spoke, and the markets did not like what he said. It's essentially, we will taper the bond purchase program in the event the economy recovers. Of course, that makes sense, but the market did not want to hear that. So that takes us into what Don mentioned recently in some other videos about high volatility and about things to watch in the big picture. So we're back in that hurt locker, as Don says. We're back in the S&P volatility box, right between the weekly expected moves and this really 3,000 and 3,100. The expected move takes us down roughly to 2,950 and about 3,160. The numbers are 3,166 on the upside and the downside 3,938 thereabout. So we're at the top of that range. What now? I think I'm getting some clarity from the profile charts. Not too long ago, we had the market overextended well above, we can see this on the hourly chart a little easier, well above these profile levels, and they were different back then. But that suggested sell-side activity or an advantage to short selling the market through vertical spreads, in-out spreads, or put plays, or as Don did and others, volatility back ratios, or other type of long volatility, long premium strategies. Took a few days for those to pay off, but pay off they did. And they went all the way to the target. which is Don's 2938 gravity in the S&P, and the value area extreme on the volume profile, which is here. That gave us a buy. Now we can look at the 30-minute chart. With the target achieved, gravity achieved, this week is the push up away from. And so that favored taking your profits, flipping and trying some long premium purchase positions or long type of calls for a bounce. And that's going to take us right back inside the yellow. That's what happened in the last 2 trading sessions. So all the volatility, all the news, all the things happening, keep watching the volume profile level, and that's again roughly 3100. And that potentially plays up a little bit higher up to the red or 3250. That's your upside potential. If the market instead takes the little elevator to the downside, we do have what we call a pocket or open air zone beneath 3111. So I would suggest let the market, if you're about to go short, trigger a sell signal. What's that? Let it break under this trend line. Let it break and hold under about 3090 or 3080, and then start to play bearishly. You'll be doing so aggressively as it's above support at the moment. So still a little upside potential play, and we'll see some stocks making new all-time highs in a moment, but that's the bigger picture for the S&P 500. Speaking of those stocks making new all-time highs, we'll just do our scan to see what names have risen to the top. This is our stocks making new 52-week highs, or the highest high of the last 252 trading sessions, and it's in the S&P 500. Looking at those, we see Danaher, probably a stock we're not going to trade. Eli Lilly was the biggest winner in today's session. There it is. PayPal, just talked about that. And some tech names which include Adobe, Autodesk, and KLA Corporation, and Electronic Arts. Let's look at those on the bigger picture to see what the charts and what opportunities might be presenting themselves. The thought process is that which is strong tends to get stronger. So over here we see Danaher, and that is a stock. We'll look at the weekly. Right, that's a stock that is making new all-time highs. Stock you might not be familiar with, nor am I familiar with it that much, but higher highs, higher lows, rising moving averages, and a persistent uptrend does lead to bullish type of positions on pullbacks, on retracements or flags, the most recent being to this 160 level. Beyond that, we have Eli Lilly. That's one that is a drug stock or a pharmaceutical stock that is also, let's check for the possibly not all-time highs, but looks like it's there. And that is a strong stock, persistently getting stronger. We can see some little bull, longer-term trades in that. And that's the pull, the jump, and the trade up to those highs. Under that is PayPal. Doesn't have a long trading record, but still is a strong stock getting stronger. And we prefer to purchase this on pullbacks or retracements. That's up at the highs as well. Adobe is relentless. If you don't like a lot of volatility, you like some consistent movement, really straight up movement. I don't actually like this type of action because it does not really give swings. It doesn't really let the market pull back or retrace. But Adobe is a stock that's giving you consistent buys on the pullbacks to the average and higher highs persistently or consistently. And it just continued to make new 52-week highs in today's trading session. Autodesk is another, which shows the end of 2019. And that's some strength. That's some bullish upside potential there going. KLA, 10 cores, one I don't really trade or watch. But Electronic Arts is, if you're a gamer, a video gamer, or your children are video gamers, you might be familiar with EA, or EA Games, or maybe even EA Sports. This is not making new all-time highs, but it is catching a bid and recovering a lot after the, was it 2019? And the 2018 actually, pullback retracement or rout. The stock lost about 50% of its value and now is recovering that back. So if you are going to play long, do that in the names that are strong, getting stronger, things that have bids, strong uptrends, higher highs, higher lows. Apple is one of those, and it just fell shy. Apple would have been a new all-time high today were it not for that prior high, just above 350, 355. Didn't quite make it, but it's just around the corner. Some others, Netflix, again, that's a little support consolidation. Amazon always is the top of our list, just for interesting, if anything else, and it's playing up off that as well. So keep watching your tech names. Consistently watch your financials. 2650 is and remains your line in the sand, as Don reminds us. That is the key point. Right now, 25 was the high of the day. So in the XLF itself and individual stocks that make up the XLF, that's the spot you'll be watching. 25, 25.50, 26, and 26.50. All those are certainly in play. And before we go, we'll take a look at the VIX, which, like the market, gapped to the downside, or gapped up the market. VIX gapped down and recovered. So VIX actually ended, to an extent here, right about where it closed. So always watch that within the probability or the plays and how you structure your trades. Bonds, gold, all those other stocks and markets in play. Focus on these levels and just know we're at key inflection points. 3100 is the key for this week and the week ahead. Always be careful and safe. This is Corey Rosenblum with tonight's Theo Nightly Video for June 16th, 2020.